Morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton's first online service on this Easter Sunday. And as Monica said, I'm Mary Ellen Scanlon, and I'm your service leader today. It is so nice to see everyone. I realized as people were coming in how much I miss everyone. Anyway, at the end of this, I promise I will hug everyone once. And those who know me know I'm not a hugger, so that's big. Anyway, we hope on behalf of Reverend Victoria and our entire team that you will find some comfort and renewal here today. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your search for meaning and truth, you are welcome here in this spiritual community. So following my opening words, Victoria will do the chalice lighting. And we invite you, if you have a candle or a chalice handy, to join with her at that time to light the chalice. And these opening words are by Elizabeth Strong. Out of the earth rises light, rises life, rises spring. May we join with the miracle that is springtime and enter into life with lightness and joy. Out of the Spirit rises faith, rises hope, and rises love. May we join with the miracle that is Easter time and enter into life with hope and love. Let us resurrect with spring. Let us resurrect with the Spirit and enter into renewed life as we gather into our time of worship together this Easter morning.
And I invite you to say with me our chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. So we're going to sing together hymn number 123. Some of you may not have a hymnal with you. That's okay. Sing along as best you can with Rachel.
I'm very emotional right now, so I might not make it through. It's lovely to see everyone. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning, everyone. So to celebrate Easter Sunday and the season of rebirth and renewal, our story for all ages today is And the Good Brown Earth by Kathy Henderson. When Graham went to the vegetable patch, Joe came too. It was nearly winter. "Now's digging time," said Graham. and she picked up her spade and dug that ground into big old lumps. And Joe dug too. He made a hole and a heap and a squashy place for squelching in. And the good brown earth got on with doing what the good brown earth does best. Next time Graham went to the vegetable patch, Joe came too, and there was snow on the ground. Joe ran and jumped and slid and whooped. Graham stood and looked. "Now's thinking time," said Graham, thinking about all the things in her gardening book. Joe thought too. He thought up a snowman. Next time Graham went to the vegetable patch, Joe came too, and there was spring in the air. "Now's planting time," said Graham, and she raked out the loose earth smooth as breadcrumbs and planted seeds in long, straight rows. Joe planted too, lots of seeds, here, there, and who knows where. And the good brown earth got on with what the good brown earth does best. Next time Graham went to the vegetable patch, Joe came too, and the birds were singing, the trees were flowering, and the rain and the sun were chasing each other across the sky. "Now's watching time," said Graham, keeping an eye on those hungry birds, and she made a scarecrow and stuck it in the ground. Joe watched too. "Graham, Graham," he shouted, "there are green spikes coming up." Next time Graham and Joe went to the vegetable patch, it was green all over. "Now's weeding time," said Graham, and she picked up her long-handled hoe and grubbed up all those weeds between her vegetable rows. Joe pulled up a few weeds too. At least he hoped they were weeds. Then he rolled in the long grass and sang. Next time Graham and Joe went to the vegetable patch, it was hot, hot, hot. The plants were drooping and the earth was dry. "Uh-oh," said Graham, "now's watering time." And she hooked up the hose to the old tap and ran it on the plants, sweet as rain. Joe watered too, mainly himself, and he gave Graham the second ripe strawberry. And soon Joe's ma and pa took the whole family to the beach, and Graham and Joe went too. "Now's resting time," said Graham, stretching out for a snooze. The sun shone and the breeze blew. And the good brown earth got on with doing what the good brown earth does best, day after golden day, until the next time Graham went to the vegetable patch, and Joe came too, of course. What did they find? Oh, wow! Oh, wow! Oh, wow! There were Graham's plants standing tall and ripe and lush. And there were Joe's, higgledy-piggledy, tangly, fantastic. Joe jumped up and down and hugged and hugged and hugged his own Graham tight. "But what? But how? But who?" asked Joe. Graham hugged him back. "You'll have to ask the good brown earth," she said. Then she took her long-pronged fork and opened up the ground, and there were pale brown potatoes like buried treasure, and carrots and parsnips and beets. "Now's gathering time," said Graham, filling her basket, and Joe gathered too, beans and greens and bugs and grasshoppers, dandelions and fat tomatoes, and he ate so many blackberries the purple juice ran down his chin. And when they finished gathering, Graham and Joe loaded up the wheelbarrow and set off home, ready for feasting time. And the good brown earth got on with doing what the good brown earth does best. And that's our story for today.
Good morning. I asked you all who were interested in participating in today's Joys and Sorrows to send me things ahead of time. And these are the ones that I got, and I'll be sharing with you today. From Marion Sewell-Snade, my sister Vivian had cancer surgery this week. Surgery happened 1 week following her diagnosis, and she's doing as well as can be expected. I heard from several people reminding me of the passing of Mel Weber, and I received this from Pat, his wife. She says, A huge hug and thank you to the whole congregation for the lovely plant and the many, many phone calls and emails and cards and wishes of encouragement and support you sent to me and to Mel during the time of his hospitalization and his death. I can only guess how many of you are going to miss him, and I look forward to a time when we can gather to celebrate his life together. Lila Miklos sent in her joys and sorrows, including attending a virtual celebration of life for Flora Irwin Litt that was yesterday. She was the wife of the retired United Church minister Wayne Irwin. She also is participating in services in other UU churches today in the United States, actually, made possible by the wonderful technology we now have available to us. And she reminded us too of Leslie Cordero's son, Nick, who has contracted COVID-19, is in the hospital in Los Angeles and could use our prayers and good wishes for his healing. Pat Dickinson wanted us to know that her beloved Roy, husband, celebrated his 85th birthday on Good Friday, April 10th. So happy birthday, Roy. I saw there was a cake last year. I hope there was a cake this year too. Birthdays have to have something that makes them the same. This from Katie Keenley's side. I'm so thankful for Gail Rapolt during this period of isolation. Gail brought me groceries and homemade soup and other food when she heard that I was under the weather and had a bad cold. So thank you, Gail, for your generous spirit and kindness. And last but certainly not least, John and Sue Stewart Green are very delighted to announce that they have a grandson. He came around on Friday, March 13th, a new child for their son Jordan and his partner Tessa. They've named the baby Mac. I don't know about a middle name, just Mac. Pretty cute. And while I know you won't be able to see it, but I'll show you the picture of the little baby. Those joyful moments in a time of uncertainty are so important to us. And our hearts are with families that are struggling, that know, for you all who may know people who are ill at this time, and for a moment of compassion for all of us, for living through times that are so different than we are used to. And I would invite you, if you have a candle with you, another candle with you this morning, to light your own candle for joy and sorrow, for your own perseverance and your own life in this very challenging time, and for the moments that are positive and helpful and wonderful that give hope and joy to your soul. This morning's reading for meditation and prayer is from Reverend Margaret Weiss. The church is not a place, it's people. The church is not only a roof line above the trees and the streets and the cars. Rather, it's a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and justice. The church is not just walls built stone on stone, held together by mortar, but rather person linked with person, all ages and genders and abilities, a community built on the foundation of reason and faith and love. The church is not just a set of doors open on Sunday morning, but rather a commitment, day after day and moment after moment, of our hearts pushing open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience and radical welcome. The church is not a building or a parking lot or a pew. It's the gathering together of all the people, of all experiences, and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts, gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache, and pick up love and hope. For the church is us, each and every one of us, together, a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. Cindy's going to do a chant for us now, the words of which mean, I am a soul, I am part of the whole. And as all chants, it repeats. So as you listen to Cindy and her beautiful voice, as you start to become comfortable with the words, please sing along if you like.
A reading by Judith Quarles. Spirit of life, bring to us beauty, the beauty of snowdrops and tulip shoots. Bring to us strength, the strength of torrents of spring streams and the quiet strength of roots pushing deep into the ground for nourishment. Bring to us pleasure, the pleasures of maple syrup, sticky and sweet on our tongues, and the wind grabbing a kite and taking it high. If only we could go too. Bring to us wisdom, the knowledge that new life springs up without help. In spite of everything we do or don't, green shoots will bring in the spring. Grass and weeds and dandelions will appear. Bring to us love. Springtime love has magic in it. The children look cherubic, the parents look eager, the lovers look lost, the seniors look satisfied. Let springtime love be a part of our lives. Spirit of life, come to us that all the energy and power of spring will make us tall and smiling and expectant. Blessed be.
Feel free to sing along. We've done this a couple of times. It's very simple. There is a love, and if you remember it, and if not, that's okay too. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding you. There is a love holding all that you love. There is a love love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
Well, hi. Happy Easter. I'm sending blessings to you. Delightful to see your faces. Whether you're celebrating Easter today or Ostara, whether you're in the middle of Passover, or you're just happy that it's spring, it's really good to be together. We are marking this year in very new ways, obviously, compelled by circumstances over which we seem to have very little control, to reconsider our usual habits and our traditions. To be with each other via technology instead of in person, to make the best of our new normal, whether we like it or not, to mourn the loss of our beloved, comfortable ways of being and still find gratitude for what remains. We can be joyful and happy. And then also, sometimes we are tired and disappointed, or things just aren't the way we wish they were, and that's okay too. We can exist in a world of contrasts. We can be grateful and anxious together, but still feel very alone. Times like these, which are so different from what we are used to, they bring with them thoughts and feelings and realizations that we've really never experienced before. Some of what we learn is exciting. We've learned, the worship team has learned to put together a Zoom worship this week, and while we've all had moments of feeling incredibly nervous and a bit trepidatious, here we are, and it's actually working, and it's very exciting. And then others of things that I've had to learn about can just sometimes feel a bit irritating and frankly not so welcome, and I just wish, like, you know, the sooner it's over the better. And those are all a part of what it means to live in times that are not usual times. Some of the lessons of Easter are timeless, however, for they are about change and how we cope with change, how we cope with the everyday of our lives. You'll remember that in the Bible story, Mary goes to Jesus' tomb, and she learns on that Easter morning of Jesus' transformation into a new life beyond death. She's shocked and amazed, and she runs to tell the others, who are also in a state of shock and disbelief. And now they must face the question of what to do next, of how to live a life that is faithful to their teacher's lessons in a world that is so radically changed, where their teacher won't tell them what they should do on a day-to-day basis. They must learn to be more self-reliant and to think about the lessons and the values that they've learned and how to implement them as they move forward into a new life. That, to me, is an incredibly timeless story. Now, we are certainly in different circumstances now, but we too face a life that will be transformed. It will never be the way it was before. As much as we might think of the past as normal, it will not be normal again. You know, every holiday and celebration related to spring, even spring itself, honors the impact of change on our lives, of our need to embrace a new reality and to form new patterns in the face of what really is in that moment. Often it comes with turmoil and hardship. What we celebrate is making it through and coming out the other side, feeling that we are stronger and wiser and more resilient, living in a new awareness of our own humility and gratitude. So as we cope with this COVID-19 world, we're going to be confronted with ourselves and what we learn about who we are when life is tough. And we find out in those moments how we interact with our values, how we keep our commitments, and how we move about our lives when our customary strategies aren't possible anymore, or just aren't working the same way that they used to. We find out who we are when we're anxious and bored, frankly, lonely, discouraged perhaps, and we may discover that out of this cauldron of uncertainty, we're actually finding out that there are ways that we really want to or need to change to make ourselves happy, but also to just feel like we can work better with the world, that we're more aligned with who we want to be. It's very true, and I'm sure the lesson gets repeated in your own life on a daily basis, that when we are in times of uncertainty, we need one another. We appreciate our community, and of course, in this situation, the irony of that is that when we want each other the most for our own safety and the safety of our beloved friends and family, we can't be together in ways that we've been before. So we're challenged to be with one another in ways that are different, in order to deal with a deadly threat, a virus that we know won't last forever, but it's certainly with us now and for an unforeseeable future. So in this time, well, it's time to reach out and ask for what you need. It's time to reach out and call people, even if you're not one of those people who loves the telephone. Once in a while, I've set a little goal for myself. I'm quite introverted. I'm quite happy being on my own, but I call at least 5 people a day. That's huge for me. It works though, and it helps me feel connected. I've also found that I really love waving at people from my car and my porch. It's just a way to say, I see you and you see me. It's a time to use social media to stay connected. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. And assume that others need you as much as you need them, that your calls and your contacts will be welcome because everybody's feeling a bit out there on their own right now. It's also a time to really work on our sort of natural reluctance to ask for help. And help comes in all ways. Help doesn't mean I need you to bring me soup. Sometimes help just means I need to hear your voice. I need to know you're there. Tell me a joke. Make me laugh. Let's just share a moment with one another. And think about how we will be with one another in the days coming when we get a chance to be in each other's company again. This is a time, as much as you can, to open yourself to the lessons and the awareness that this time can offer us, so that when we go back to whatever the new normal is going to be, when we move into the new future, we'll be clear about what aspects of our old ways we want to pick up with us and bring into that future, and which things we are willing to leave changed. I saw something on Facebook that said, before you go rushing to the past, make sure that you want to go back there. And I thought, wow, awareness is good in this case. Maybe there's some things that I don't need to bring forward that won't help in my new life. Nature has shown us her fearsome and awesome self. This is not a tame and placid place we live in. It can be painful, and it can include death. And we are reminded of that nature can be unsparing and cuts a swath devoid of emotion or attachment and sentiment. But it seems to me like I'm seeing things that, for me, are good news. We're learning about the positive impacts on Earth with reduced human activity. You've seen the pictures, I hope, on Facebook or the news about the Himalaya mountains, who some people in Nepal haven't seen for years. They're seeing them now. We're witnessing the ways that humans can be their most noble and generous and kind and compassionate. And we're seeing some stinkers too, but I prefer to focus on the positive. We're also seeing glimmers of how life could be lived differently beyond the old models and systems, the old narratives and ways of being. And we're seeing clearly that some of those need radical and drastic change. And we're seeing that potential to make those transformations. We're seeing people stand up and speak out. We're seeing courage, people using their voices, calling for solidarity to support those changes into the future. I want to share with you a quote from Harriet Beecher Stowe. Excuse me. She says, When you get into a tight place and everything goes against you, till it seems as though you could not hang out a minute longer, never give up then, for it's just the place and the time that the tide will turn. And I know all of us stand on the edge of each day, looking for the signs that the tide will turn. Our new reality is not our forever situation. But I'm not able to predict when is going to be over, and I don't think you are either. Until then, however, we need not lose hope because we have each other. So take care of yourself and do what you can to take care of other people. Be safe. Make your sacrifices out of love and compassion. Be grateful for the privilege and abundance that is a part of our lives. Hold each of us in your hearts as we hold you, and let's stick together. Blessed be. As we get ready to close our worship for today, I'm going to extinguish our chalice. And Mary Ellen will give us our words of benediction.
Before I offer the closing words, I will just remind everyone, we don't have a long list of announcements, but we encourage you to keep watching the All Church emails and our social media and the website for updates and information that may be important to you. And a reminder that following the reading and the postlude, there will be a social time afterward, and you are welcome to stay for that. Our closing words are offered in the Passover spirit, and they're by Deborah Hafner. We are on a journey. We didn't plan it. We didn't have time for the bread to rise. We may find ourselves in the wilderness, hungry and thirsty, doubting that we should ever have come. But look around. It is our journey together, a journey to our better selves, a journey to a better world, and a journey to a more promised land. Amen.